Listen, I'm easy to find.
And then they can kiss my ass.
Good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Monday. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all staying safe. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope the beginning of the week was smooth for you. Hope everyone's doing something fun, whether it's camp, whether it's going on vacation, just doing something. Even if it's at work, I'm pretty sure find something to take your mind off things. This is episode 6, season 9 of Big Nate Sports Talk. Before we get into the video, there's a few things I'd like to say up front. Today, Brittany Griner has been out, I think, now at 130 something. I've lost count. I think it's like 138 days. Today, her trial didn't last no more than 40 minutes. No, sorry, it's 130. I'm sorry. It's 130 days. The trial didn't last no more than 40 minutes, and her detention is being extended. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is more than enough. It's really time for some action to be done. Whether it's the president, VP. I know it's in the hands of affairs, but 130 days, and it's not looking. It's getting concerning. Just looking at the video on Twitter was very, very. I was sad because she really should not be in this situation at all. I do see a positive light at the end of the tunnel. It's just really crazy that after 130 days to see no effort being made. On top of that, no embassy official was present. The phone call, trying to get her and her wife, trying to get that situated, that's a mess of itself. That made absolutely no sense, and you couldn't get those two connected. It's just really crazy. So I'm just praying for Brittany. I do believe that she will. I proclaim that she will be home soon. But as you see in the title of the video, it is the NBA draft grades. Congratulations to all those that were drafted. It's a part of a new journey. It's the start of a new journey. This was an interesting draft class. I think this draft class has the potential of being arguably one of the best. Now, mock drafts, again, took an L this year. Mine did, because there are some guys that at one point, for example, I had Christian Braun in the 1.0, and then I don't remember if I had Peyton West in there. I know they weren't in there at all, but most of these picks were fair. I think I got most of them right, I would say. I was close enough, but before we get into that, so there was a few trades that did happen. So the Houston Rockets, they got Ty Washington from the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Minnesota Timberwolves, they drafted Wendell Moore. Ty Washington was drafted with the 29th overall pick, and Houston gets the 2025 and 2027 second-round picks. The trade for Christian Wood was finalized, so Mavericks, they got Christian Wood, and the Houston Rockets got Sterling Brown, Marquise Chris, Boban, Trey Burke. So those are the 5 guys that they're getting. Golden State moved up for a second-round pick. Kennedy Chandler, I was surprised actually moved. He's actually went to the second round. But in terms of the first round, that was pretty much it. Oh, the New York Knicks. Jalen Duren was they acquired the number 13 pick in a three-way trade. So the Detroit got Jalen Duren, Kemba Walker. The Charlotte Hornets got a 2023 first-round pick from Denver via OKC in New York. A 2023 second-round pick from New York. A second-round pick from Utah. A second-round pick. It says something like most favorite. It doesn't make sense. It was either favorable of Dallas or Miami, and then a 2024 second round pick for New York. And then the Knicks, the New York Knicks, being the New York Knicks, just get a future first round pick. The Nuggets, they traded Jeremiah Green to OKC for Peyton Watson, and 2 second round picks. And then the Thunder got a 2027 first round protected pick. The Philadelphia 76ers, they traded DeAnthony Milton to the Memphis Grizzlies for the number 23 pick and Danny Green. The Minnesota Timberwolves also traded the number 22nd overall pick. They got the 22nd overall pick and the 29th pick from Memphis. Memphis got the 19th pick and a future second round pick. The Knicks, they got the 11th overall pick. They sent the 11th overall pick to Oklahoma City. They got 3 first round picks that are protected, and the Oklahoma City Thunder got the 11th overall pick. So that was pretty much how. There was a couple of future second round picks, but that was pretty much what happened in the first round. We're just focused on the first round draft grades because that's what I love to do the most. Because the first round of the draft is always the importance because those guys, always, they are the tone setters for these franchises. So let's get into it. Woo! With the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic selected Paolo Banchero. I was surprised as the day progressed, his stock went up. I will say, look, I think they did it really good. Orlando Magic pretty much had us fooled. I thought Jabari Smith would have been the number 1 overall pick. If you look at it, the Orlando Magic is going in the defensive side is more on the defensive side of the ball. Hindsight, you could have went either way with him or Jabari Smith, but when you look at Orlando, they need playmaking and they need some offense of play. They need some offense, and Paolo gives them that. Because if you look at the Orlando Magic, they don't have a true identity offensively. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what he does with this team. I think the Orlando Magic did a really good job with this pick. Like I said, I was not mad at either one. As far as on the defensive side of the ball, some questions about his defense, particularly how it will transition. I think it will do fine, but he can create shots, and he's a pass first type of player. Again, I was shocked when they announced this, when they said he was number 1, when they announced his name. With the 2nd overall pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder selected Chet Holmgren. Now, my only concern, at some point, Oklahoma City Thunder, they're going to have to start competing. They've got a lot of draft capital, but at some point, I would like to see them start competing. I think he fits their long-term rebuild. You already have Josh Giddey and Shea or Gilgeous Alexander. Oklahoma City needs some front court. He's got great length. He can space the floor. He can shoot the 3. His defense is spectacular. Even though as a freshman at Gonzaga, the only concern I have is just his frame. I do foresee he'll have to bulk up just a little bit. I kind of feel like I don't want to see Kristaps Porzingis with the injuries, but his upside as a two-way player where he can protect the rim. He's all over the floor on the offensive side of the ball. That is a good fit. That's a good place for him to go to Oklahoma. Like I said, I believe they'll work with him, especially to get his physicality up, especially as he has to get comfortable with that. Because these guys, particularly on the wing players, that physicality, you've got to get that up. With the number 3 third overall pick, the Houston Rockets selected Jabari Smith. I mean, 6'10", he can shoot the ball. I made it clear that these were the top 3 picks. I actually was kind of saying to myself, okay, well, if Paolo went number 1, then Jabari had to go number 2. But Oklahoma City had their guy. So, I mean, just reading scouting report, best shooter. You know, he's extremely competitive. He can score. He can play multiple positions on defense. I mean, I could see him making Orlando and Oklahoma City pass up on him. I mean, I feel like there are some things he has to work on. I like to see him more as an interior scorer. Again, this is just me. If you're 6'10" and some change, you need to be backing guys. And I need some interior offense. Like to see that, and also he's got to work on his handles. He can have a case of turning the ball over. That's just me. With the 4th overall pick, this was actually a surprise. With the number 4 overall pick, the Sacramento Kings selected Keegan Murray.
What the hell?
Social media did a really good job of making sure Jaden Ivey did not go to Sacramento. That's really did. No, Sacramento panicked in a sense. I think first and foremost, Keegan's going to be a great player. I had him going to the Spurs. He can shoot the 3, score in transition, great defense. But my concern that this pick is a high floor pick, not a high ceiling pick. I think he has all the upside that I think Sacramento's going to get out of him. You look at Jaden Ivey, he was the next best thing off the board. And the reason why, if you think about it, and it made sense, he does not fit well. He will not fit with De'Aaron Fox. You want to make sure when you draft is you got to look at, okay, how can I build with what I have? You know, this is the same King team that passed on Luka Doncic to take Marvin Bagley. I mean, historically, they've done that. So I feel like with Keegan, I would like to know the trade offers that were given to Sacramento because I feel like they could have got something for him. Because if I just don't think Jaden would have been a good fit because you have to think about it of one, with a backcourt like with De'Aaron Fox, got to share the ball, and then together, I don't think that would work. And Sacramento, they're trying to make the playoffs. So I'm not mad at it. I got to give the Kings credit. I think they did okay. I think he'll be well. I'm just not really feeling that he would have been this high. With the 5th overall pick, the Detroit Pistons. And I think this is the backcourt for the future. The 5th overall pick, the Detroit Pistons selected Jaden Ivey. I think he's going to do really well. He and Caden Cunningham could have the case of being one of the best backcourts in the game. If you pushed me, I say he had the potential to be number 1 overall pick. I mean, he was the most available player on the board. He's athletic. He was the most athletic guard coming out of this draft. He has tremendous speed. Great offense in the half court. He can leap. He can leap. He looked like a little Vince Carter-ish out there. Now, only thing that I think it will get better, Cade Cunningham is not a run and gun player, athlete. Let me say it like that. And I think that'll get better. Now you have someone like Jaden Ivey that will help Cunningham, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, to help on the defensive side of the ball to space the floor particularly give Jaden opportunities to drive. Now, when you look at it, Jaden, he gives in the transition and it's a set defense. That's going to help Cade Cunningham a lot. So I really, really like this pick for the Detroit Pistons. With the 6th overall pick, the Indiana Pacers selected Bennedict Mathurin.
What the hell?
Well, a lot of mock drafts had Keegan Murray going here. And when Sacramento took him, I feel like Indiana panicked and took the next best thing off. As a perimeter scorer, I think that's what Indiana's looking for because they're going to need that with Tyrese Haliburton. He's had great athleticism. He can shoot. I feel like he will do well in Indiana, but if he can develop his on ball and learn to become a shot creator, I think it'll get better as time progresses. I think he has all the potential to do well. The only thing is, it's just on the defensive side of the ball. It's how that transition. I've seen some of the college highlights. He looks just a tad bit one-dimensional on the defensive side of the ball, particularly, with his handles is okay, and his playmaking decisions. I feel like his defense is kind of the concern, but I feel like that'll get better. With the 7th pick, the Portland Trailblazers selected Shaedon Sharpe. Okay. Anywho, I think it's a good pick. The only concern is he didn't play at Kentucky. Okay. Weird. Sorry about that. He didn't play at Kentucky. He made it clear that he wanted to get his body right, get himself in shape. I respect that. So he is a mystery pick. You were number one. You were coming in as the number one player and not playing. I think that's interesting. But he has all the abilities of a shooting guard. He can make plays, great 3-point shooter. I really would like to know his feel. I'm kind of concerned about his feel for the game, how he translates. Again, some of these guys on the defensive side of the ball, they're really going to have to. It's going to be kind of an interesting transition. I feel like, again, not having that college. I really feel like I wish he had played that or just waited. I feel like some of these guys should wait 2 years. The only tape we have is him in high school, and he has all the tools to be great. Those are just my concerns, but I think he has the tools to be a potential all-star, in my opinion. The number 8 overall pick, the New Orleans Pelicans selected Dyson Daniels. Now this one, some people had him higher, going was no higher than 13. Some people have him actually going to the Wizards. Dyson Daniels, I think, arguably can make a case that he's probably one of the best defensive guards. He's the ability to be physical on guarding the 1 through 4. High motor. He has a great offensive mindset. And you can just see it starting to really pick up. Great ball handler. He can pass the ball, especially on the open floor. I would just like to see him get better at scoring. Especially now that you've got Zion, Brandon Ingram, you're going to be okay. That's it. I think his jump shot, if he just continues to work on it, he'd be okay. So I think he fits really well, especially in the defensive system with Zion, Brandon Ingram and those guys. I think he'll do well in New Orleans. With the 9th overall pick, the San Antonio Spurs selected Jeremy Sochan. I think I actually had him going here. It was kind of funny. I had him, Keegan Murray, and I think E.G. Little going here. I love this pick for the Spurs. I think he will help San Antonio on their front court. I think he'll do well. The most versatile players, again, arguably you can make in the case of the draft. He's got good ball handling skills. He can make the easy passes. It's just we would like to see how he will progress as just a shooter. He ain't got to be Dirk. He ain't got to be Tim Duncan. We just need to see a jump shot be created. If he can do that, I think the Spurs will do just fine. I mean, that's really it, especially from the 3 line and the free throw line. He was really not the greatest shooter, but he on the defensive side of the ball, he can cut off driving lanes, he can contest shots, and he's active with his hands to force turnovers. So I like the pick for the Spurs. I do. I really do. At number 10.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
The Washington Wizards selected Johnny Davis.
I'm not going to even sit here and act like I didn't know this was coming. Or act like I know this was coming because I did it.
I think we need to move Lonzo.
That ain't no problem.
Huh?
That ain't no problem.
Well,
I'm actually not mad with this. I'm not mad about this pick. I feel like he will actually do pretty damn well in Washington. I do. I think coming out of Wisconsin, let's just be real. Wisconsin, the Badgers, watching some of those games on YouTube, they had a poor job of spacing the floor, and Wisconsin just wasn't good. Let's just keep it real. But I feel like I'm thinking with the Wizards. I mean, coming out of Wisconsin, he was great. Washington will be a good fit for him. On the defensive side of the ball, he could really be a staple. And I think also, too, that'll help Bradley Beal. I do feel like he's shown he can get it done. I mean, he's a decent three-point shooter, just has to get better. I feel like coming out of Wisconsin, it was a very structured style of offense. I mean, I think he will surprise a lot of people. I mean, he has a lot of grit, and he's a grit and grind player, and I respect it. He's very competitive, and I think he'll do well with the Wizards. I just feel like if he can just be consistent with the jump shot, particularly from the 3, and I think, again, that's really it. So not mad at it. With the 11th overall pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder selected Ousmane Dieng.
Oh my God.
Not saying this was a reach. This was interesting. This is a long-term investment if you look at it. Again, I feel like this is another one of Sam Presti's long-term rebuild projects. The Knicks had this pick, but they got multiple first-rounders. Dieng, I think from the perimeter offensively, great size. He can shoot. He's got a decent handle. He's shown that he can stretch the floor and shoot the 3. On the defensive side, he's got to add some strength to his frame. He's shown that he's a great rim protector. He's got great instincts. I think that the upside is there. But, again, this is another, like Chet Holmgren, this is another long-term project. But I think he'll pan out just well. With the 12th overall pick, the Clippers had this pick. The Oklahoma City Thunder selected Jalen Williams. Where's the clip?
Oh my God.
I want to say reach, but I don't want to say reach at the same time, because coming out of Santa Clara, I think he can actually do. He's got great quickness. The leaping ability is fantastic. I feel like he just has. Oklahoma City needed wing players. They need wing players that can shoot and play defense, and they need athleticism. And Jalen Williams fixed that. I think he gives them more size, more versatility in the perimeter. He's not box office. I mean, he's not. But I mean box office. He's not like your Russell Westbrooks, your Kevin Durant's. He's like a Kawhi Leonard. He's just quiet and gets the job done. I'm kind of starting to see what Oklahoma City was trying to do for the long term. So I'm giving Sam Presti his flowers. With the 13th overall pick, Knicks, man.
Relationship with your
Oh my
children.
God.
Detroit Pistons selected Jalen Duren. I think he'll do well in Detroit. Now, remember, the Hornets had this pick, 13th overall pick, but now Detroit has it. Now, Jalen coming out of Memphis, shocked Penny Hardaway. Not your average floor spacer, because the modern day NBA, you are expected to shoot the three and space the floor. But if you got a guy that's 7 feet, okay, and he's got a perimeter game, you best believe I'm passing that ball inside without a shadow of a doubt. Again, there's some skills offensively I have to develop. I think he'll be a great glass cleaner on the offensive side, the defensive side for Caden and Jaden Ivey. It's just where he will fit in this system. Because, again, for pick and roll, that's great. But it's just where will he fit offensively with them? And I think he will do well. I think he has all the skills to be a great pick. This is actually one of my favorite picks. I'm not mad at it. Shout out to Jalen. With the 14th overall pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the first Jayhawk off the board, Ochai Agbaji. Now, I think we can make a case he's one of the most ready players, and he gives Cleveland what they need. They need a shooter from the wing. Now, personally, I would have taken AJ Griffin, but I think he can not only play, he can play the 2-3, and I can see he can play a little bit of the 4. Now, when you already got a younger, Cleveland's already kind of getting younger, and I think also too the Colin Sexton situation, that's kind of tricky. I'm not mad at Charlotte with taking a player like this. Now, because Cleveland needed a wing player that can shoot the ball, and he's shown that. And again, just seeing it, particularly watching the national championship, even some of the March Madness, on the defensive side of the ball, there's room for improvement. But I mean, really, if you look at it, I'll be honest, with all these guys, there's a lot of room on the defensive side of the ball, room for improvement for all these guys. But I like this pick for Cleveland. With the 15th overall pick, and I'm so happy for him, shout out to Elizabeth Williams, the 15th overall pick, the Charlotte Hornets selected Mark Williams out of Duke. Now, it was a no-brainer. I think he could fit well with LaMelo. I feel like he can definitely meet, especially around the rim. He can definitely turn some heads. Now, again, not a shooter. He's just a guy, dunks, layups, and rebounds. That's really what we're looking for. Now, I think this will do really well. I can see LaMelo Ball throwing some lobs his way. Sean Spencer, what's going on, sir? I can really see that. I can see him, Oubre, giving him some lobs. I think this will be a really good. This is a great fit for him. It's just making sure he utilizes that role. And Charlotte, now that Steve Clifford's back, like they have an actual rim protector, and they can still play with up-tempo basketball. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, a lot of people say Jalen should have went here, but I think this was a very good pick for Charlotte. In Chicago with Nick. Sure, Nick, what's going on? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Hope you're doing well. With the 16th overall pick, this was actually interesting, and I was actually surprised. I at some point he was going to be taken with the 16th overall pick. Excuse me. The Atlanta Hawks took AJ Griffin. Now, look, I mean, coming out of Duke, because look, he's. And I've heard this argument in football too. There's these we call them East and West players and North and South players. AJ Griffin is a North and South player, and he lacks the oomph, and that's what a lot of teams don't like. They tend to stay away from guys like that, and I don't understand that. It really bothers me, but. And also, too, the injuries, I've also felt like definitely played a role where he was driving where his stock went low. But I think he'll do well in Atlanta. I mean, I think he gives him good value. If he just stays healthy, that's the key. I just feel like the injuries kind of just really brought him here at 16. But for somebody that can, on the defensive side of the ball, a great wing defender. He can shoot the three. I just need to see him just stay healthy. That's it for him. But I think this would be a great pick for the Atlanta Hawks. With the 17th overall pick, the Brooklyn Nets had this pick, Tari Eason. Excuse me. I apologize. Now, I think he fits really well with Houston. I think he is a very versatile defender. He's very physical. I feel like, again, with the offense, I think I see lobs, I see some posts. It's easy baskets for him. I do that. Because it's going to be interesting, a guy coming to LSU, how do you defend a guy like that? I mean, he was an 80% free throw shooter coming out of LSU. I looked at his stats. He took a lot of threes, and that's kind of a question. That's kind of a head scratcher because I feel like, again, if you're a guy that's 6'10" and some change, you really shouldn't be out there shooting threes. But I get it. But I feel like if he could develop the jump shot, off the ball offensively style of play, I think he'll do well. He's also too very. I've noticed he tends to play out of control. I've noticed that. I feel like he is a risky pick, but he has the tools physically. For him is really good. I'm not mad at it, but I would like to see how with a young team like him, it will do well with developing him. It's just going to take some time. With the 18th overall pick, the Chicago Bulls took Jalen. Chicago, and there's some trades there coming out of Arizona. He just agrees. He has a lot of intensity. Three-point shot needs some work, but the reason why, because again, I looked at some of the clips of Arizona. I noticed that he likes to. He's very trigger happy. That's the best way I can explain it. Because, for example, I can't remember. I think it was March Madness. I think that's what it was. The fact that there was a lot of looks, and he didn't. That's what bothered me. His briefing. Does shoot the ball. He 40 under like 40%. You got to make defenses respect you, and I feel like if he can do that, I think he'll get better. But as a two-way player, I mean, he has all the tools to be great as a two-way player. It's just offensively, can you improve the three-point shooting? That's the key. With the 19th overall pick, the Minnesota Timberwolves had this pick. The Memphis Grizzlies took Jake LaRavia out of Wake Forest. I apologize if I name dropped it. So Memphis had the 22nd and the 29th pick together at Minnesota, and they got to get some good value. Now, with Kyle Anderson pretty much being on his way out more than likely, this is the type of wing player that Memphis needs. He can shoot the three. He can pass the ball. And if you have a structured defense, he knows his role. I think he's shown that. He's shown that I think if you shoot the ball too much, it kind of gets to his head. I've seen that. But I think he'll get better. Again, another young player that Memphis is going to really get a lot of value of and a lot of potential. Because, I mean, I don't see Kyle Anderson staying in Minnesota because, I mean, look, Brandon Clark and Desmond Bain are going to change. Now, the 20th overall pick, the Raptors had this pick. San Antonio Spurs selected Malaki. In the first round, I think this is a good pick for the Spurs. I think he has promise as a perimeter for his position. I feel everybody was playing effective. I think that the Spurs, that's another word to say, they will make him become. He will do really well in their rotation. I could see that, especially now that they're trying to bring. But I mean, again, it will improve. Malaki, I look out of State. Had a lot of teams that played. Then there's the Big Ten. Two totally different defense. A lot of Big Ten and why Maryland. That's a Big Ten is not that. They will do just with the Christian Brown. Yes, and then no, I'm not mistaken. Pronounced Brown. I don't know what to feel about this one. I'm not going to say this was. I'm not going to say. I think Denver. From the defensive side of the ball, offensively, showing it at Kansas, he can shoot the ball. I think he'll contribute right away. He makes plays at the rim in the transition. It's shown. and he spot up shooter, especially passing, and on the defensive side, really being in skills and the ball handler being on the defense. I think he'll do well. When you look at, I was hoping that they would get two guys. Anthony, what's going on? What's going on? Good to see you. I was really hoping that they get the Nikolai Jokic pick. You have two of them in Denver. You have two Jokers, but that didn't happen. So, but I think it's a good pick for Denver. I could see him doing really well. The 22nd overall pick, the Timberwolves select Walker Kessler. I feel like he and Jabari Smith were a good front court. Walker is a great rim protector. He was the number one player in terms of blocks. Not the greatest shooter from three, because he's shown that he's a better shooter statistically than Jalen, Mark Williams, and that was interesting. I feel like his development will get better, but I think also too that not the greatest free throw shooter. I think those things will improve as time gets better. There is see especially defense if you space the floor against a Walker Kessler, but if you put him in the right
Guaranteed.
Walker Kessler can watch out. The right system that matters. With him and Carl Anthony Towns is going to work. So most likely they're going to have him play the 4, Cat, and then have Cody play the 5. Curious to see how that experiment will look in Minnesota. With the 23rd overall pick, the Memphis Grizzlies, this Philadelphia 76ers had this pick. They took David Roddy out of Colorado State. Another one. Maya Hollingshed was actually drafted out of Colorado State herself. So, not bad. I don't really know much about him. I had to do my research on him. 6'6", really good three-point shooter, great rebounder. He's shown that he can be active on the defensive side of the ball. Athleticism is above average. Strength makes him better against bigger wing players. Again, they traded this pick for DeAnthony Milton. So Milton really particularly even during spending a lot of time in that rotation. So he's going a little younger, and it's a cheaper contract. Grizzlies have another opportunity to improve their wing on improve their wing play and to improve their wing. Let me say it like that. The 24th overall pick. I'm just kidding. The Milwaukee Bucks selected Mark Beauchamp. Not bad. I would have liked him. Tyson had watched and mad at that. But I like Marjon. Great upside. I don't really see – I feel like the Milwaukee Bucks had to get better at that position because from the wing standpoint, they were not that great. I mean, what's the kid? Grayson Allen. The guys they had for wing players were not that great this past season. They just really weren't. They just didn't show it to me. Marjon has shown in the transition he can make plays. He can shoot the ball really well. The 3-point shooting just has to get better. The Bucks will love a player like this, particularly if you're playing against a guy like Giannis, is very intense and very versatile on the defensive side of the ball. I like this pick for the Milwaukee Bucks. I do. Watch out. I think this is a potential steal. And 25, the San Antonio Spurs selected Blake Wesley. Damn it. I wanted EJ Little to go here, but that's okay. I like another Notre Dame player. I'm not mad at it. Shout out to Blake. Love him. Blake will do well with the Spurs. In terms of Blake, he's actually I'll use the word project. San Antonio now has a lot of young. Now they're young with the guard at the guard position. He's very athletic. His instincts when it comes to scoring, they need some developing. I'm not mad at that. Now, come out of Notre Dame. I understand it's going to be one and done. Come out of Notre Dame, but the issue is and I think it will get better. That's why I think he's a project. So I saw him in the March Madness tournament. He had at times he struggled to finish at the rim. He can also at times he can be cold as ice as a shooter. But again, I think under the tutelage of Greg Popovich on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball, I could see improvements. I don't really know what to think of this pick because I don't know what you're going to get out of him. But knowing the San Antonio Spurs historically, they've always taken picks, guys that are kind of like and made them into great players. So we'll see. We will see about this one. Let me get some water. 26. The Minnesota Timberwolves selected Wendell Moore. Now, remember, the Rockets had this pick. Now, Wendell Moore will do well. Another Duke player. Shout out to him. He got a great wingspan. I think he'll transition well into the NBA. He's an efficient scorer. Even though Paolo, they're more folk. All eyes were on him, and made it easier for Wendell. Now, when you look at him in terms of his shooting offensively, particularly from three, will get better. I would say he's more of a mid-range scorer. He did actually well. Those are things that you especially when you transition to the NBA, those are things you want to see. And Wendell Moore fits that. I think his transition to the NBA will actually be smooth. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, I think things will get better. And when I look at it, I'm sorry, from Minnesota. When I look at it, I think things will get better for him. When you look at a guy like with Anthony Edwards, I think that would be a good little 1-2 combo. I think time will progress to see where he'll be at with Minnesota. But I think it's a good pick. I'm not mad at it. Shout out to those that are watching. I appreciate the likes. Anthony, Delilah, thank you. I appreciate it. The 27th overall pick, the Miami Heat. I think this is the steal of the draft. I do. But I have questions because I don't really feel like he fits Miami. I mean, size is great. He's just kind of more a perimeter player. He can shoot the three. Great mid-range. He's got his offensive package is actually not that bad. Now, not the greatest athlete. Defense, from what I read on the now, you value a player like this offensively. I think he will do absolutely just fine. Especially when in an air exposed system, they really love to tap that physical tension, and they have done it so well for so many years, and I think it'll actually work out for them. Great for the 28. The take. I think he'll do. I think the good and Patrick Baldwin. They're Golden State's actually trying to go to Golden State too. Why they want to accept it or not? They're really trying to rebuild. They're trying to build now for the future. I like it. Injury history and lack of athleticism, but he can hit. He's got great size. He can shoot the ball and defense. I think that matters. And I think on a team like Golden State, he will do well. It's hard to find guys that are 6'10" and taller that can shoot the ball like he did. Because coming out of what school did he come out of? He came out of Milwaukee. I think that was a school. I can tell he struggled. I think a lot of it, and I think some of it was confidence, but I also think it was system. I think those kind of things matter. Like I feel like you got to take those things into consideration. But I think with Patrick Baldwin Jr., he has the potential, and Golden State will tap that potential. Just got to make his shots, and I believe he'll put in the work, and I think this will really pay off for them in the long run. Now, number 29, I like this pick. The Houston Rockets got their guy, Ty Washington Jr. I'm not mad at it. Now, to me, the Rockets already like to play like him. I'm kind of really weird how that's going to work. Now you've got Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green. I mean, more than just for depth, but I've had Ty. I think at one point, like somewhere in the top 20. And at one point, I got to go back and look at the video, but I think that's where I had him. Come out of Kentucky. The only thing that I think hampered him was the ankle injury, because I think he had the potential to be a lottery pick. But I think for somebody that, again, can shoot the ball, particularly on the ball, and he probably mostly can play the two, he will do really well on the other side of Jalen Green. He's 6'4", and he arguably offensively has the best upside. You can make a case for that. I think actually, fun fact, he had a 17 points and 17 assist game. And I'm curious to see what more of a role in Houston he'll get. But I think he'll do well in Houston, I do. With the 30th pick in the first round, the Denver Nuggets selected
What the hell?
Peyton. I'm just kidding. Now, I'm actually surprised. I'm kind of curious to see where now Denver is going to go with this pick. Now, little background. Peyton Watson, coming out of UCLA, is great work.
Good Lord, thank the good Lord I am on FCC airwaves. I thank the good Lord. It's hard to take, man.
That's only for somebody that most people would say he was a top 10 pick.
So when are we gonna say something about it? You know what? I'm gonna walk away. I'll be right back because I'm scared I'm gonna say something that might get me in trouble. Because I'm pissed. I'm pissed.
He did the rotation. the UCLA team that pretty much had the guys that decided to run it back. Jaden averaged 3 points a game, which was
I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. This is disgusting. It's disgraceful. It's embarrassing. And I'm ticked off. It don't make any sense. This is unacceptable.
That's the really only concern. But other than that, he's a good defender. He has the tools to do to be great. The tape has shown that when he's on the floor, I mean, he puts together some incredible defensive stops. This player that took a risk, that took a chance on himself, and needs he needs some time. I loved him, and I like Denver is really going to really work with him. I mean, if you think about it, I argue honestly and truthfully that all the tools that an NBA team looked for in Denver fit, and Denver found them. But there is some patience and some development. With that said, that's going to conclude the video. Congratulations to drafted. Be great. I said, out of really all of these, my biggest concern is the 11th pick. I think he's a project, but I think he'll do fine. I really think that Jabari Smith should have been number one overall pick, but I think Paolo, this whole class has shown the potential. They show flashes to be great. It's just putting it together. So I with that being said, that's going to conclude the video. I'll be back on in a little bit to recap the Washington Mystics versus the Las Vegas Aces. So until then, please like, comment. So.
It is what it is. It's so great to be great.
Listen, I'm easy to find.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.
And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.